Hey guys, welcome back to the world of English exams. Today we are going to learn the essential tips for the reading module of the IELTS test. So most of us would want to score that perfect 9.0 on the IELTS reading module, but we might not know some of the tips that would help us to get that score. So if you are one of the desirers of the perfect band 9 score on the reading test, please make sure you watch the video till the end and stay tuned to our channel World of English Exams, so that we are providing a series of videos that would help you to crack each and every question type on the reading module perfectly every time. So let's get the video started by looking at the overview of the IELTS text. So as you can see, the overview of the test for the academic reading contains 3 sections basically, and you need to read 3 passages which are taken from various sources, and you need to answer a total of 40 questions within a time of 1 hour. Similarly, if you are a general training candidate, or maybe you are attempting the general training test, you have to attempt 3 sections, but you need to read not 3 passages but 5 passages, out of which 4 of them would be smaller and 1 would be a bigger passage. Then you need to answer 40 questions just like the academic students. So this is the overview. If you know the format, I hope you can prepare much better. So you know that if you are an academic test taker, you need to read 3 sections, you need to read 3 passages and answer 40 questions. If you are taking the general training test, you need to read 3 sections and read 5 passages and answer 40 questions. So, and the total time for both the types of modules is 1 hour 60 minutes. Now let's start today's video by understanding what are the do's and don'ts. So the things which you have to practice and things which you have to avoid. So that is what we are going to see in today's video. So do stay tuned. I am going to explain in detail about each and every point. So make sure you listen to them carefully, or if you wish to, you can make notes of something, or you may pause the video at regular intervals so that you can read what is the content that is given, and you can imbibe all the instructions carefully so that you can perform up to the requirements and achieve the dream score. So first let's start with the points to note, or the things that you have to do. Read the instructions very carefully before the start of the test. This is the very important point, because most of the times it so happens that people start reading and people start writing the answers, but they are not aware of what the instructions have to say, particularly if it says that so and so number of words have to be written. So if you are asked to write a limited number of words, you have to make sure that you are writing it. Otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to exceed the word limit, and then definitely that answer would be considered as incorrect. So we don't want to take the risk. So hence you need to read the instructions very carefully before the start of the test. And general test instructions also will be given before the main test has to begin. You will see that some instructions will be given to you which you have to pay attention to, and you need to read them very carefully and closely. The second tip is plan your time properly while practicing for the test. Yes, so before attempting the main test, obviously you must practice questions and question papers. You need to take mock tests, and you need to be sure that you are properly aware of how you can manage the time. As previously stated, you are only going to get 1 hour to complete the whole test, and yes, you need to also transfer the answers onto the answer sheet. So for the reading test, you will get a definitive answer sheet which contains 40 questions, and some basic information also has to be filled. So make sure that you are going to fill all these requirements and transfer the answers within the 60-minute time frame. No extra time will be given to transfer the answers in the reading test, whereas in the listening test you will get 10 minutes to transfer the answers. That extra time is not available in the reading test. Then learn how to read the given question and text quickly. So quick reading is the most essential strategy for reading. So let's imagine that if we are given 2 hours, let's say, then I hope many of you might be able to score complete all the answers right. But it's not like that, right? So we only get to get 1 hour time to complete the test, and you have to practice quick reading. You need to use strategies like skimming and scanning. So yes, World of English Exams has come up with an innovative video of how you can actually skim and scan. That video is really informative, and we are seeing that students are able to improve their performances after watching the strategies. So if you haven't watched that video, not to worry, I am going to give you the link in the description box. So don't forget to click on that link and watch that video completely, so that you will get the information of how to skim and how to scan. And not just that, I have also highlighted one more very interesting and useful technique, that is intensive reading. So intensive reading is completely different from skimming and scanning. So each of these techniques has its own uniqueness, and you have to adopt all these strategies together to score better in the reading section. So, and the fifth point says, get to know the various kinds of questions in the test and practice them thoroughly. So the first point is that you need to get to know, you need to familiarize yourself as to what are the various types of questions in the reading test. And you also have to know if there is a difference between the types of questions given for the academic part and types of questions given for the general part. You need to make sure that you are aware of all these facts, and then you need to practice each one of them thoroughly. So here what I mean by thorough practice is, you need to identify what your strong areas are. So you need to allocate lesser time, because anyway you know that it is you're going to land into the right answers. So focus and concentrate on those areas where you have to improve. So this is also effective time management, which will help you in a dual benefit, not just to score better in the reading module, but also in the listening test you can score better by following these strategies. Let's move on to the next point. So make sure that you are following the instructions properly for the number of words. Yes, so especially for question types such as fill in the blanks, in which we have note completion or sentence completion, flowchart completion, table, diagram labeling, and short answer questions, summary completion. So in all these questions, you are able to see an instruction which reads that you have to write the answer in a set number of words. So make sure you don't skip reading that instruction. If you avoid reading that, what would happen is, even though you get the right answer, if you don't follow the word count precisely, then the answer would be marked as incorrect. Let me give you an example. So let's say that the answer for a given question is a red rose. A red rose. So now let's say that the instruction tells you that you should not write more than 2 words. So immediately, if you write the answer as a red rose, then it would be considered as 3 words and the answer is incorrect. So you need to play a very intelligent game in deciding and paraphrasing it appropriately, so as to suit the number of words. So in this case, you have to give the answer as red rose. If the same answer has to be written in 1 word, then you're going to omit the word red and you're going to write the answer as rose. So you need to be very careful while giving the right answer in the right number of words. So that is instruction number 6. Now let's see the next instruction. For certain question types like matching, the options will not follow a sequence. Also, you can see that the number of options are usually more than the number of questions. This is the reason why many of the candidates would not get their desired score, and they will think that since they have answered all of the questions, they think that they are going to get a very good score, and after once they get the results, they would feel bad and they would feel confused actually as to why this happened. So the reason might be this. Because for certain questions like matching, under matching question types we have many categories, like matching the list of headings, which paragraph contains the following information, matching the nouns with the given information in the text and all that. So for that, the heading itself is telling that it is matching, which means the options are not in a sequence. So you need to be very careful when you're matching the options, and you can also see that they would be giving us more number of options than questions. This is just to mislead us and confuse us, so we are not going to fall prey to them, and we need to adhere to the instructions, and we should be knowing the facts. So if you know how to do it and why you are doing it, then definitely you are positive to get a band 9. Then the next tip is transfer the answers to the answer sheet within the time. So we already stressed on this, and no extra time will be given for transferring the answers. Then the next one, write all the answers using a pencil. So this is a standard instruction. However, students would also practice writing with a pen, and often their answer sheets would not be validated. So hence, please confirm with the test center and the invigilator whether you can write in a pen, but it is always advisable to go and write with a pencil only. Another quick tip at this point of time is, when you're writing the answer, if you cannot differentiate between a proper noun and a common noun, often you land up in writing all the answers in lowercase letters. So some of the students will come back and tell me that we have given the answers, but the answer is incorrect even though the spelling is right. So that is because instead of writing a capital letter for a proper noun, you may have started to write the answer in a lowercase letter, which is wrong. So make sure that you can actually write all the answers in capital letters only. So all the answers in all caps, that is not at all a mistake. That is completely acceptable in the IELTS test. So rather than taking the risk and writing the answers in all lowercase letters and losing marks, it is better to write all the answers using all uppercase letters or capital letters or block letters, whatever you may want to call them. So now let's move on to the next tip. Focus more on strengthening your weak areas. So many of the candidates would be practicing the whole mock test or the whole 40 question paper, and unfortunately there would not be any improvement. The reason is maybe you're just practicing the test, but you're not working on improving your weak areas, or the areas or the question types which are problematic for you. So it is no use doing that. First concentrate and identify what area is weak for you. For example, for some candidates, multiple choice questions may be problematic. For the others, fill in the blanks may be problematic. For maybe for some others, matching questions can be problematic. We never know, right? So always it is you who can accurately identify and gauge the areas in which you have a trouble. So after identification of them, you need to make sure that you're practicing adequate number of tests. So you can find all the relevant information and practice papers on our website www.worldoфenglishexams.com. Then the next tip is, understand that there are two question types which are confusing, guys. True, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. Both of them are different. Though the strategy for both these questions might be the same, but understanding the question is different. And of course the answer also has to be given in specific to the given question, which means if the instruction says true, false, not given, you have to use the same words while giving the answer. Instead of true, you cannot give the answer as yes. Instead of false, you cannot give the answer as no, and vice versa. So read the question properly and then follow the instructions. And also there are several instances where candidates write the answer as a single letter, like T or F in the case of true, false, and for not given they would give it as NG. Same in the case of yes or no or not given, they would give the answers as Y, N, NG. That is absolutely a blunder. So make sure that you are not giving the answers as an alphabet, but give it as a whole word. Then the next tip says, when skimming the test, you need to read the first and last sentences of each paragraph and make short notes in and around the paragraph. So skimming technique involves a quick reading, which means you're not going to intensively read. Rather, just read the first sentence and the last sentence of a given paragraph and try to identify, try to understand what the paragraph actually means. And while doing so, you can highlight it, or you may want to make short notes so that you will understand. These short notes can be written somewhere in the paragraph or around the paragraph. You will find some blank spaces where you can write them, so that once you read the question, you are sure of which paragraph contains that, so that you can come back accurately to that particular paragraph only. You don't need to read everything. Then let's move on to the next tip. While scanning the text, highlight the keywords and look for synonyms. So scanning is where you read for the keywords. So you're actually trying to identify that particular context which gives you the answer. And for that, you need to look for synonyms. So just highlight the keywords. Keywords are the significant words that carry a worth of information. So they are nothing but nouns, verbs, adjectives and such other words. Make sure you're marking them and don't think of getting the same words. So you will never find the exact words from the question. You should be able to locate and identify the synonyms. Now let's move on to the next tip. In the question type called which paragraph contains the following information. So this question type can sometimes be given as for which of the following statements is it true. So for such a question type, you can particularly see an instruction called NB. Most of the students are not aware of what is NB. It is called note beat, which means that you can repeat any answer more than once. Now this is a clue. Whenever you see the instruction NB, it means that definitely a minimum of one answer will be repeated twice. So what is that answer that is repeated twice? You need to find out by reading and answering the questions. So if you don't follow NB and if you see that all the answers are unique, then it means that you have made a mistake somewhere. So just go back and reread it and get the right answer. Then the next tip is, for multiple choice questions, you may have to pick either one option or multiple options. Yes. So multiple choice questions are of two types in the IELTS reading test, which means multiple option which has to be selected with one option. So you need to select one option from a given range of alternatives, and there is another type of multiple choice where you have to select two right answers, not one right answer, but you need to pick up two right answers. So you need to be careful in reading the instructions, especially for multiple choice questions. Now these are some of the things that you have to note, the points that you have to remember while practicing and attempting the reading test. Now similarly, we are also going to learn what you shouldn't do. So what are the don'ts in the reading test? What to avoid? Basically, do not read intensively at the start. This is a big mistake because the time is limited. So for effective time management, you may first want to read the questions, or basically if you have a habit of skimming the passage, do it quickly. Just run your eyes through the passage and do not focus on any particular passage for a long time. This is one of the things to avoid. The next point, don't waste too much time on any questions. You would have to answer 40 questions, right? So you have to spend a minimum of 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute is the ideal time for one question. So see to it that you are not spending too much time on any given question. Then do not write the answers using short forms. Always write the complete word. This, if you remember, we have discussed while talking about an instruction for true or false or not given. I clearly told you that you should not write the answer as TFNG or any kind of short form. You need to write it as a complete word. Then do not jump into concluding the answers without referring to the passage. Do not use your own knowledge. So you might be aware of the concept already, but you should refer back to the text. You should refer back to what the writer has to convey through the passage and whether the information that is given in the passage agrees with what is given in the statement. So without that, do not jump into conclusions. Don't forecast anything. Now the next thing to avoid is never skip reading the instructions. This point I have already highlighted. So you have to read the instructions and follow them. And next tip is, don't extend the answers beyond the word instructions. When I was mentioning about the word instructions, I clearly told you that you need to stick to it. However, See, just please look at this instruction that it says no more than 3 words. It necessarily does not mean that every answer is a 3-word answer. No, some of them can be a 1-word answer, some of them can be written in 2 words, and the maximum number of words that you can write is 3. Then the 7th one, it's a very simple and straightforward one. Avoid spelling mistakes. You have to get the right spelling. Then do not wait till the last minute to transfer the answers, because you do not get any extra time. So if at all you're focusing more on writing the answers onto the question paper, and let's say you're not able to transfer all of the 40 questions within the limited time, then what is going to happen is they are not going to consider the answers which you have written in the question paper. Only those answers which are accurately transferred onto the reading answer sheet only would be considered for the score. So make sure you have all these points in your mind, guys. So I hope this video was useful, and if at all you like this, please give it a huge thumbs up and share it with all your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel World of English Exams if you wish to receive the latest information and the updates for the IELTS test. So till I see you with the next informative video, happy preparation, guys.